We've seen everything go digital during the past few years. It started with the conversion of music from vinyl records to optical, digital CDs. Even our TV sets need a special antenna to pick up the local stations. Our cars are controlled by tiny onboard computers that make them more gas efficient, and they require less maintenance. This is all about converting systems that were once analog to digital. So why has this been necessary? It's all about computers. Computers think in digital. They solve problems using very advanced manipulation of ones and zeros. Educating children without addressing this monumental change in our world wouldn't be much of an education.
Students use technology all the time. Mostly it's out of school, whether it be video games or a computer, a laptop, an iPad, an e-reader, whatever. But too often when they were coming to school, we would ask them to disconnect. And to students, it was kind of like going back in time, really. It would be kind of analogous to a student who turned 16 to say, hey, we're going to teach you about transportation now, so hop up on this horse. You know, students would say, but I'm not going to be riding a horse to work. I'm going to have to drive a car, so you need to teach me to drive a car. So we feel that it's important to prepare students for the world in which they're going to live, and they're going to have to know how to use technology in authentic ways.
There have been some recent monumental changes, but all this started several years ago with a device that replaced the old-fashioned chalkboards. It's called a smartboard.
We've had them in our district, I'd say, a good 8 to 10 years. Now that we've transitioned to, it's been a gradual transition, so not every teacher has had them for that duration, but we're now at the point where every classroom teacher who's in a core content area of math, English, science, or social studies has had them for several years. So that is their primary mode of delivering the instruction. Teachers continue to use that. In fact, what they do now is model the content that students will see on their devices through whatever learning management system that we're using. So that's actually projected onto the board, or students continue to interact with the content. Those Promethean boards or the smart boards are interactive, so students can engage with the content and drag and manipulate and highlight things that happen to be on the board, as well as what they would see on their device, so that they work hand in hand in conjunction with one another.
You may notice that the students here at Vance Middle School all have laptops. Those are now issued by the school to the students.
So the devices will be rolled out prior to the school year beginning. The parents will be involved with that as well. The parents will get go through a training session. They will attend that will go over some digital literacy skills, care for the machine, and over exactly what the students will be receiving, which is a laptop, and they receive a backpack as well. On that day, they'll also pay there's a technology usage fee that will be applied on an annual basis. That's going to be a $50 fee, and there is assistance for that if it's needed. They'll also attend a login session, which is where the students sit down with an individual Bristol, Tennessee City Schools representative, a staff member, and they'll go through the login process. It's about a 15-minute process, and they'll sign some paperwork, sign an agreement. The students will have a responsible use policy that they'll have to agree to, and so they'll go through that process at the beginning of each school year, and students will have it that entire school year, and at the end of that school year, they'll turn those machines back in. Over the summer, our staff will wipe those things clean, the devices clean. They will refresh them for the fall when the students come back to school. Students will get the same machine back when they return to school. So we're trying to give them a sense of ownership on those devices. However, we feel like that over the summer we need to refresh them for the students so they're back to where they were when they originally got them.
Right now, only the students at Vance have the computers, but starting next year, students at Tennessee High will also be included in the program.
Today in education, what you are beginning to see in public school is the introduction of Common Core into our teaching environment. Here at Vance, you're also seeing the introduction of a digital conversion, which means that every student has a piece of technology. For us, it's a laptop, and through the digital conversion, students are being able to learn more individually, and we're being able to deliver instruction to them on an individual basis. It also gives them the opportunity to enhance what's going on in the classroom with flip videos that are outside the classroom, so they can actually watch what's going to happen the very next day in their classroom at home prior to the instruction of the next day. Several things have been identified through our digital rollout that we can consider our successes. We feel like our teachers were very prepared to take on the laptops as an instructional strategy, and they were very prepared to use those effectively in the classroom as an instructional tool. We were real proud of that process. We took on time in the day, in the regular school day, to train our teachers to be prepared for that transition. We also are seeing that a number of students who might have been quite unorganized are showing up as being very organized because their stuff is all in one place, and they're able to pretty much participate in a paper-free type environment if that's what they desire, and they have less to keep up with. So they're really being able to get themselves very organized on and focused on their education. We feel like that's very much a success. We also feel like we're working through our obstacles relatively quickly. We think having the staff and the manpower to do that, we consider that also as a success. We have a help desk that's open all the hours of the day that we're open with students here, and we keep that fellow very busy. He's doing a great job, so we're really proud of that process as well.
I think students are very much engaged in anything that is technology based. It's naturally engaging to them. It is second nature to them. It's a little bit more intimidating for the adults because we haven't grown up in that environment, but students are definitely connected all the time, and so it naturally becomes something that's very enticing and engaging in a classroom environment, which is a quick and easy hook for teachers.
That's all great, but giving middle school kids laptops?
Providing them each with an individual device is giving them that opportunity to express some ownership over that device, and so they take care of it. And we're seeing them, that's what we had hoped would happen.
And according to everyone I spoke with, the students take great pride in that computer. It teaches responsibility. But a laptop is not cheap.
Many people have wondered about the resources that this initiative is taking. We actually received some help from the governor this budget year because of PARCC testing that is coming, that is going to be online. The governor allocated $51 million within the state of Tennessee to be divided up among the districts. Largely that was intended to be used for infrastructure because lots of districts in Tennessee frankly don't have very good infrastructure for technology. We actually have been keeping up pretty well with infrastructure. We've done some recent upgrades, so we were in pretty good shape on that end. So we used the governor's money to kind of help kickstart this program. And lots of people wonder how we will sustain it. We're really going to look at reallocating resources to add this as part of our annual budget. If you think about textbooks cost a tremendous amount of money. So we're looking at providing more recent, relevant digital resources, which are actually much less expensive than traditional hardcover textbooks. So we'll put that money into this initiative. There are other things we can do. For example, the amount of money that we put into copiers, we expect that to go down. So over time, we're going to transition. That's part of where the term digital conversion comes in too. We're going to transition from more hard copy type materials to digital resources, which in addition to being less expensive are actually more current. So it's kind of a win-win for us, and that's one of the ways that we expect to fund this on an ongoing basis.
The laptops go home with the students, and if there's no Wi-Fi at home, allowances are made for the student to download assignments at school. Our schools are not the first in the country to explore this idea, but all schools will eventually have to go digital.